The alien ship looked like a massive crystal floating in space. It was bigger than any human warship and sparkled with strange lights. The ship moved slowly toward the human space station called New Geneva. Inside the station, alarms were going off. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his battleship, the USS Defiance. He was a tall man with gray hair and deep lines on his face from years of command. His ship floated near the station, ready for anything. Jake had fought in 3 wars against pirates and rebels. He had never seen anything like this alien ship. The crystal ship sent a message. A voice spoke in perfect English, but it sounded cold and empty. "We are the Galactic Council. We come to speak with your leaders. Prepare to receive our ambassador." Jake looked at his second in command, Captain Lisa Hayes. She was young but smart, with short brown hair and quick eyes. Lisa had studied every report about aliens that humans had ever found. Most of those reports were just stories. This was real. "What do you think, Lisa?" Jake asked. "They have been watching us for a long time," Lisa said. "They know our language. They know where to find us. This is not their first visit to human space." A small shuttle left the crystal ship. It was shaped like a diamond and moved without making any sound. The shuttle docked with New Geneva Station. Jake and Lisa went to meet whoever was inside. The airlock opened with a hiss. Out stepped something that looked like a walking piece of glass. It was tall and thin, with no face that humans could see. Light moved through its body like water. When it spoke, the voice came from everywhere at once. "I am Zixathara of the Veltai. I speak for the Galactic Council. You will listen." Jake did not move. He had faced down pirates and terrorists. He would not be scared by a talking piece of glass. "I am Admiral Morrison. This is Captain Hayes. We are listening." The alien moved closer. Its body made tiny ringing sounds like breaking glass. "Your species has grown too fast. You spread across space like a disease. You build weapons. You take planets that do not belong to you. This must stop." Lisa stepped forward. "Those planets were empty when we found them. We hurt no one." "You lie," the alien said. 3 worlds you have taken were marked for other species. You build war machines in space where peace should rule. The Council has watched you for 50 of your years. We have seen enough." Jake felt his anger rising. No alien was going to tell humans what they could or could not do. "What do you want?" Zixathara raised one arm. A screen of light appeared in the air. Pictures moved across it, showing space battles and burning planets. This is what happens to species that do not listen to the Council. They fight us. They lose. Their worlds burn. Their people become slaves or die. The pictures changed. Now they showed peaceful planets with cities made of crystal and metal. Alien beings walked in gardens under purple skies. This is what happens to species that are wise. They join the Council. They follow our laws. They live in peace. "What laws?" Lisa asked. The alien turned to face her. "You will stop building new colonies beyond your home system. You will give up your weapons of war. You will let the Council guide your science and technology. You will send your leaders to learn proper behavior. In return, we will protect you from enemies. We will trade with you. We will share some of our knowledge." Jake laughed. It was not a happy sound. "You want us to give up everything that makes us human. You want us to be your pets." "You will be junior members of the Council," Zixathara said. "In time, perhaps your species will earn more rights, if you prove worthy." Lisa looked at the screen again. The pictures of burning worlds came back. She counted 12 different alien species being destroyed by Council ships. "How many species have joined the Council willingly?" "All species join willingly," the alien said, "once they understand the choice." "That is not an answer," Jake said. The alien's body flashed brighter. "Your answer must come quickly. The Council is not patient with primitive species. You have 7 of your days to decide. Accept our offer or face the consequences. Jake looked at Lisa. She gave him a small nod. They both knew what their answer would be. Humans had fought wars against each other for thousands of years. They had survived ice ages and plagues and asteroid strikes. They had never given up when things got hard. They would not start now. We do not need 7 days, Jake said. We can give you our answer right now. The alien waited. Jake stood straighter. His voice was calm and clear. We respectfully decline. The silence stretched on for long seconds. The alien's body dimmed, then flashed bright again. You refuse. That is correct, Jake said. This has never happened before, Zixthera said. No species has ever refused the Council's generous offer. Then you have learned something new today, Lisa said. The alien moved toward the airlock. You have made a grave mistake. The Council will not forget this insult. We will return with a larger fleet. You will have one more chance to save your species. We will be waiting, Jake said. The alien left. Its shuttle flew back to the crystal ship. Within minutes, the ship turned and jumped away, disappearing in a flash of light. Jake and Lisa stood alone in the docking bay. Around them, the station crew was already getting back to work. News of the alien visit would spread across human space within hours. Every colony, every ship, every outpost would know that Earth had said no to the Galactic Council. Do you think we did the right thing? Lisa asked. Jake smiled for the first time that day. Lisa, my grandfather fought in World War II. My father fought in the Mars Rebellion. I fought pirates in the Outer Rim. We do not bow to bullies. We never have. We never will. As the USS Defiance prepared to leave New Geneva, Jake sent a message to Earth Command. It was short and simple. First contact with hostile aliens complete. They demanded surrender. We said no. Prepare for war. The council chambers on Nexus Prime had never been so loud. 12 different alien species were all talking at once, their voices mixing into a chaos of sounds. Some spoke in clicks and whistles. Others used electronic tones. A few made sounds, like breaking rocks. High Chancellor Mordeth stood at the center of the great round room. He was tall and thin, covered in black armor that looked like insect shells. His 4 arms waved in the air as he tried to get control of the meeting. Behind his helmet, 6 red eyes glowed with anger. Silence! Mordeth's voice boomed through, speakers built into the walls. We will discuss this like civilized beings, not like animals. The noise died down. 12 council members turned to look at Zixthera, who stood in a beam of light at the center of the room. The Veltai ambassador had just finished telling them about the humans. The crystal being's body was dim with shame. Tell us again, said a voice like flowing water. It came from Depth Mari Ambassador Coral Song, whose blue-green body floated in a tank of liquid. The humans said what exactly? They declined our offer, Zixthera repeated. They used the words, "We respectfully decline," and then asked us to leave. The chamber erupted again. A machine voice cut through the noise. Probability analysis shows this is impossible, said Protocol 7, the artificial intelligence that spoke for the machine collective. No species has ever refused council membership. Error in translation programs detected. There was no error, Zixthera said. I spoke their language perfectly. They understood our offer. They chose to refuse. Ambassador Helen Carter sat in the human section of the chamber. She was the only human who had ever seen this place. Helen was older, with white hair and lines around her eyes from years of studying alien languages. She had been on Nexus Prime for 6 months, trying to learn about the Council. Helen had tried to warn Earth about what was coming. She had sent message after message explaining how the Council worked. They would make an offer that sounded good, but was really a trap. Any species that said yes would slowly lose their freedom until they became slaves. But Helen had also learned something else. She had studied the history of every council member species. All of them had been weak When the council first arrived, their worlds were dying, or they had just lost terrible wars, or diseases had killed most of their people. The council always chose species that had no choice but to say yes. Humans were different. Earth was strong. The colonies were growing. Human technology was advancing fast. Humans had choices, and they had chosen to say no. "This changes everything," Helen said quietly. The Veltai council member turned toward her. "What did you say, human?" Helen stood up. All 12 alien species looked at her. She was the only human in a room full of beings who could destroy her planet with a thought, but she was not afraid. "I said this changes everything," Helen repeated, louder this time. "For 3,000 years, the council has never been refused. That is because you only make your offer to species that are desperate. You wait until they are weak and dying, then you show up like saviors. Of course they say yes. They have no choice." "We offer protection and guidance to primitive species," Mordeth said. "We bring peace to the galaxy." "You bring slavery," Helen said. "I have read your records. I know what happened to every species in this room. The Veltai were freezing to death when you found them. Their sun was dying. The Depth Mari were fighting a civil war that had lasted for centuries. The Skar-Rathi had just been invaded by the Hive Collective." She pointed at each council member as she spoke. "Every single one of you joined the council because you were desperate. None of you had a real choice. Humans do have a choice, and we choose freedom." The chamber fell silent. Helen could hear her own heart beating. She had just accused the most powerful beings in the galaxy of being slavers. They could kill her, or worse. Instead, something unexpected happened. In the Skar-Rathi section, Ambassador Scalebearer began to laugh. It sounded like rocks falling down a mountain. Other council members turned to stare at the reptilian being. "The human speaks truth," Scalebearer said. "We were dying when the council came. We had no choice but to accept their terms. Now look at us. We serve the council, but we do not rule ourselves." "You rule your homeworld," Mordeth said quickly. "We rule nothing," Scalebearer replied. "The council tells us what laws to make. The council tells us what technology we can use. The council tells us which planets we can visit. We are pets with fancy titles." Other council members began to shift uncomfortably. Helen saw that she had started something dangerous. For the first time in thousands of years, council members were questioning their place in the galactic order. A new voice joined the conversation. It came from the youngest council member, a bird-like creature called Swiftwing from the Aryan Republic. "If humans can refuse the council, what does that mean for the rest of us? Can we also refuse?" "You are already council members," Protocol 7 said. "Your contracts cannot be broken." "What if we want to break them?" Swiftwing asked. The chamber erupted again. This time the voices sounded different. Instead of anger, Helen heard something else: hope, fear, confusion. The council members were asking questions they had never dared to ask before. Mordeth slammed his 4 fists on his speaking platform. "Enough! We are not here to debate old agreements. We are here to decide what to do about the human problem." "It is not a problem," Helen said. "It is an opportunity. Humans are offering something the council has never offered. True partnership, equal treatment, fair trade, no slavery disguised as protection." "Humans are primitive," said another council member. "They fight wars among themselves. They pollute their planet. They create weapons of mass destruction." "And yet they unified their world," Helen said. "They stopped fighting each other and started working together. They cleaned up their planet. They turned their weapons into tools for building instead of destroying. They did all of this without the council's help." She looked around the chamber. "Every species here needed the council to save them. Humans saved themselves. Maybe it is time to learn from them instead of trying to conquer them." The arguments went on for hours. Some council members wanted to send a fleet to destroy Earth immediately. Others wanted to try negotiating again. A few quietly suggested that maybe the humans had a point. Finally, Mordeth called for a vote. The council will give the humans one final chance. We will send our best negotiator to Earth. If the humans refuse again, we will use force. The vote was close. 7 species voted yes, 5 voted no. Helen was not allowed to vote. As the council members filed out of the chamber, Scalebearer approached Helen. The reptilian being looked around to make sure no one was listening, then spoke quietly. "Your people have done something incredible," Scalebearer said. "They have shown the galaxy that the council can be refused. Whether they survive or not, they have already won a victory." Helen nodded. "I just hope it is not their last victory." "It will not be," Scalebearer said. "Word of this is already spreading to the younger species, the ones the council has not yet approached. They will remember that humans said no. Some of them will say no as well." As Helen walked back to her quarters, she sent an encrypted message to Earth. It was short but important. "Council is sending their best negotiator. This is your last chance to change your mind. They are scared of you. Stay strong." The alien ship that arrived at Earth's moon was different from the first one. This one looked like it was made of flowing silver metal that moved like liquid. It was smaller than the crystal ship, but somehow felt more dangerous. The ship landed at Luna Base without asking for permission. Commander Rick Barnes watched the ship land through the observation deck windows. Rick was a big man with thick arms and a beard that was starting to turn gray. He had been running Luna Base for 5 years. Nothing surprised him anymore, or so he thought. "Sir," said Lieutenant Amy Foster, his communications officer, "the alien is asking to meet with our senior commander. It says it comes in peace." Rick laughed. "They all say that. Tell it I will meet with it in conference room 3. Make sure the room is recording everything." The alien that stepped out of the silver ship was unlike anything humans had seen before. It looked almost human, but its skin was pale blue and seemed to glow from inside. It had no hair and large black eyes that took up most of its face. When it moved, Rick felt a strange calm wash over him. "I am Whisper of Stars," the alien said. Its voice was soft and musical. "I come from the Cytheri people. I am here to help your species avoid a terrible mistake." Rick sat down across from the alien. Dr. Kate Williams joined them. Kate was Earth's leading expert on alien psychology, a thin woman with sharp eyes who had studied every piece of information about the Galactic Council. "What mistake would that be?" Rick asked. Whisper of Stars smiled. When it did, Rick felt a warm feeling spread through his chest. The alien's presence made him want to agree with whatever it said. "Your leaders refused the council's generous offer," Whisper of Stars said. "This was done in anger and fear. I understand these emotions. All young species feel them when they first encounter the larger galaxy." The warm feeling got stronger. Rick found himself nodding along with the alien's words. Everything it said made perfect sense. Why had humans been so afraid? The council just wanted to help. Then Rick heard a sound that broke through the alien's influence. Dr. Williams was laughing. "That is quite a trick," Kate said. "But it does not work on all humans." Whisper of Stars turned to look at her. Its black eyes grew wider. "I do not understand." "You are trying to control our emotions," Kate explained. "You are making us feel calm and agreeable, so we will do what you want. It is a form of mind control." The alien looked confused. "I am simply helping you overcome your primitive fear responses. All species require this assistance when first joining the galactic community." Rick felt the warm feeling fade away. As it did, he realized what had almost happened. The alien had been inside his head, making him think thoughts that were not his own. Anger replaced the artificial calm. "Get out of my mind," Rick said, standing up. "I cannot get out because I was never inside." Whisper of Stars said, "Your species is very strange. Most beings cannot resist our emotional guidance." Kate leaned forward. How many species have you used this trick on? It is not a trick, the alien insisted. It is a gift. We help other species make better decisions. By removing their fear and anger and hatred, we help them see the wisdom of joining the council. You mean you brainwash them, Rick said. Whisper of Stars stood up. The air in the room seemed to shimmer. Rick felt a pressure in his head, like someone pushing against his thoughts. The alien was trying harder now, putting more power into its mental attack. Rick started laughing. The pressure felt like a gentle breeze against a mountain. It had no effect on him at all. "This is impossible," Whisper of Stars said. Its musical voice now sounded strained. "No species can resist our influence completely." Kate smiled. "Humans can. Do you want to know why?" The alien nodded. Humans evolved on a world where mental strength was just as important as physical strength, Kate explained. We had to resist the influence of our own emotions, our own fears, our own doubts. We had to make hard choices even when we were afraid. We developed natural defenses against mental manipulation because we had to manipulate ourselves. She pulled up a chart on her tablet. "Look at human history. We have been lying to ourselves and each other for thousands of years. We developed advertising, propaganda, psychology, and a dozen other ways to influence minds. We learned to resist these influences because we had to. A species that can resist its own politicians is not going to fall for alien mind tricks." Whisper of Stars sat back down. For the first time, it looked uncertain. "But surely your leaders will be more reasonable. They will understand the consequences of continued resistance." Rick pressed a button on the table. A screen lit up, showing the face of General Paul Mitchell. Paul was commanding the Mars defense grid from his headquarters in the asteroid belt. He was a tough man with scars on his face from the colonial wars. "General Mitchell," Rick said, "the Council's negotiator would like to speak with you." Paul looked at the alien on his screen. "Let me guess. You are here to make us an offer we cannot refuse." "I am here to prevent needless suffering," Whisper of Stars said. "The Council has prepared a fleet of warships. If humanity continues to refuse membership, these ships will come to your system. Your people will be forced to join the Council or be destroyed." Paul smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. "How big is this fleet?" "Large enough to defeat any resistance you might offer." "I see." Paul looked at something off-screen, then back at the alien. "Let me show you something." The screen changed. Now it showed a view of space near Mars. Dozens of human warships hung in the darkness, their weapons pointed toward the edge of the solar system. Space stations bristled with missile launchers and energy weapons. Asteroid mining platforms had been converted into mobile fortresses. "This is just what we have near Mars," Paul said. "We have similar defenses around Earth, around our colonies, and in deep space. We have been preparing for this conversation for 50 years. Whisper of Stars stared at the screen. "You knew we were coming?" "We have been watching the Council for decades," Rick said. "We have seen what you do to other species. We have been getting ready." Kate pulled up another display. This one showed technical specifications for Council warships. "We know about your crystal ships. We know about your energy weapons. We know about your FTL drives. Most importantly, we know about your weaknesses." The alien's blue skin grew paler. "How do you know these things?" "The same way we know about your mind control." "Powers," Paul said from the screen. "We study our enemies. We learn their secrets. We prepare for war." Rick leaned back in his chair. "Here is what is going to happen. You are going to go back to the Council and tell them that humans reject their offer. Again, you are going to tell them that if they send a fleet to our system, we will destroy it. You are going to tell them that we know about the other species that want to leave the Council, and we are ready to help them." "This is madness," Whisper of Stars said. "You cannot defeat the entire Council." "Maybe not," Kate said. "But we can. Make them pay such a high price for victory that it will not be worth it, and while they are busy fighting us, other species will have time to break free." Paul's voice came from the screen again. "Tell the council they have a choice. They can leave us alone and we will leave them alone, or they can start a war that will tear the galaxy apart." Whisper of Stars stood up slowly. The alien looked older somehow, as if the weight of what it had learned was aging it in real time. "I will deliver your message," it said. "But you should know that the council has never backed down from a challenge. Neither have we," Rick said. As the alien walked toward the door, Kate called out one more time. "Tell the council something else. Tell them that humanity is offering a different choice to any species that wants it. True independence, real freedom, equal partnership instead of slavery." Whisper of Stars stopped at the door. "And if other species choose your way instead of the council's way?" Rick smiled. "Then the galaxy becomes a much more interesting place." After the alien left, Rick and Kate watched its silver ship take off from Luna Base. Paul's face was still on the screen. "Do you think they will really attack us?" Paul asked. "Yes," Kate said, "but I do not think they will win. The council has never faced an enemy that could not be controlled or intimidated," Rick added. "They are about to learn what happens when they pick a fight with humans." As the silver ship disappeared into space, carrying humanity's second refusal to the stars, Rick sent a message to every human colony and outpost. It was simple and direct. "War is coming. Get ready." The news of humanity's second refusal spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within days, every species with faster-than-light communication knew that the humans had rejected the council again. More importantly, they knew that humans had weapons and were not afraid to use them. On the mining world of Kepler-7, a species called the Rothkari heard the news and stopped sending their monthly tribute to the council. The Rothkari were small, furry beings who had been mining precious metals for the council for 200 years. Their leader, an old female named Stoneclaw, called her people together. "The humans have shown us something," Stoneclaw said to the crowd of miners. "They have shown us that the council can be told no. If they can refuse, so can we." The council sent ships to force the Rothkari back to work, but when the ships arrived, they found human vessels already there. Captain Tony Phillips of the Exploration. Ship Horizon had brought food, medicine, and weapons to the mining world. Tony was a young man with bright eyes and a quick smile. He had volunteered for the most dangerous job in the human fleet, making contact with species that wanted to break free from the council. "The Rothkari are under human protection now," Tony told the council ships over the radio. "Leave this system or face the consequences." The council ships left. They were not ready for a war, not yet. But the message was clear. Humans were not just refusing to join the council. They were actively working to break it apart. Back on Earth, Senator Nancy Baker was having the busiest month of her life. Nancy was a tough woman in her 50s who had spent years fighting for colonial rights in the Outer Rim. Now she was head of the new Department of Galactic Affairs, and her job was to coordinate with alien species that wanted freedom from the council. Her office was full of alien ambassadors. Some looked like animals from Earth. Others were so strange that humans needed special equipment just to communicate with them. All of them had the same question: could humans really protect them from the council? "We cannot protect everyone," Nancy told them honestly. "We are strong, but we are not gods. What we can do is stand with you. We can share our weapons and our knowledge. We can help you defend yourselves." One of the ambassadors was a reptilian creature called Scale-Bearer. Nancy recognized him from the intelligence reports Helen Carter had sent from Nexus Prime. Scale-Bearer had been the first council member to openly question the system. "My people have served the council for 800 years, Scale-Bearer said. "We have forgotten how to be free. Can you teach us?" Nancy nodded. Freedom is not something you learn, it is something you choose. Every day, every moment, you have to choose to be free instead of safe. It is hard, it is dangerous, but it is worth it. Dr. Alan Ross joined the meeting. Alan was a scientist who had been studying council technology and tactics for years. He was thin and pale from spending too much time in laboratories, but his mind was sharp. "We have been analyzing the council's military structure," Alan said. "They have 12 major fleets, one controlled by each member species. But these fleets have never worked together in a real war. They have only been used to intimidate single planets or small groups of ships." He pulled up a holographic display showing the galaxy. Red dots marked council strongholds. Blue dots showed human colonies. Green dots marked species that had contacted Earth about breaking free. "The council's biggest advantage is fear," Alan continued. "For 3,000 years, no one has fought back because everyone believed the council was invincible. But fear only works if people believe in it." Scalebearer looked at the display. "You are saying the council is not as strong as they appear?" "I am saying they have never been tested," Alan replied. "They are like a bully who has never been punched in the face. They do not know how to handle real resistance." Nancy pointed to several green dots on the map. "These species are ready to declare independence as soon as the fighting starts. They have been secretly building weapons and training soldiers. They are just waiting for someone to make the first move." "And humans will make that move?" Scalebearer asked. "Humans do not have a choice," Nancy said. "The council will attack us whether we want war or not. When they do, we will be ready." On Nexus Prime, the council was in chaos. High Chancellor Mordeth had called emergency sessions every day for a week. The 12 member species could not agree on anything. Half of them wanted to attack Earth immediately. The Veltai were still angry about their ambassador being dismissed so rudely. The Hive Collective believed that humans were a virus that needed to be eliminated before it spread. The other half wanted to try negotiation one more time. The Depth Mari were afraid that a war would damage their trade networks. Protocol 7's calculations showed that the Council would win, but at a cost that might destroy the galactic economy. Ambassador Helen Carter watched the arguments from her place in the human section. She had been trying to leave Nexus Prime for days, but the Council would not let her go. They claimed it was for her own protection. Helen knew they were keeping her as a hostage, but Helen was not worried. She had been sending coded messages to Earth hidden inside routine diplomatic reports. She had told them everything about the Council's military plans, their political divisions, and their secret weaknesses. The biggest secret was that the Council was running out of resources. 3,000 years of expansion had stripped their homeworlds of raw materials. They needed the tribute from conquered species to survive. If even a few major species stopped paying, the entire Council economy would collapse. "The humans must be stopped," Mordeth said during one heated session. "If we do not act soon, the entire galactic order will fall apart." "Maybe it should fall apart," said a new voice. Everyone turned to look at Swiftwing, the bird-like representative of the Aryan Republic. Swiftwing was young for a council member, only 50 years old. Her people had joined the council recently after a plague killed most of their population. "What did you say?" Mordeth asked. Swiftwing spread her feathered wings. "I said maybe the galactic order should fall apart. Maybe it is time for something new." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Several council members demanded that Swiftwing be removed from the session, but other voices began to speak up as well. "The Aryan Republic has been thinking about the human proposal," Swiftwing continued. "They offer equal partnership instead of servitude. They offer trade instead of tribute. They offer friendship instead of fear." "They offer chaos," Mordeth said. "Without the Council to maintain order, the galaxy will return to the Dark Ages. Species will fight each other until nothing is left. Species are already fighting," Scalebearer said quietly. "They are fighting for freedom from the Council." Helen watched as the argument grew more heated. She could see that the council was splitting apart. Some members wanted to crush the rebellion quickly. Others were starting to think that maybe the humans had a point. The session ended without any decisions being made. As the council members filed out, Helen noticed that several of them were talking quietly in small groups. Plans were being made, but not the kind of plans Mordeth wanted. That night, Helen received a secret message from Scalebearer. The reptilian ambassador wanted to meet with her in private. They met in Helen's quarters, which she assumed were being monitored by council security. "My people have made a decision," Scalebearer said quietly. "When the war begins, the Scar-Rathi Republic will declare independence from the council." Helen felt her heart racing. "That is incredibly dangerous. The council will send their entire fleet against you." "Maybe," Scalebearer said. "But the council fleet will be busy fighting humans, and we will not be alone. Swiftwing's people are with us. So are 3 other species." He handed her a small data pad. "This contains the location of secret Scar-Rathi military bases, ships, weapons, supplies. Everything we have been hiding from the council for decades. Give this to your military leaders." Helen took the data pad. "Why are you doing this?" Scalebearer looked toward the window, where stars shone in the darkness beyond the space station. "Because I want my children to grow up free. Because I am tired of being afraid. Because the humans have shown us that the council can be beaten." As Scalebearer left her quarters, Helen encrypted the data and added it to her next message to Earth. The information would show human military planners exactly where their new allies were located and what resources they could provide. The galaxy was choosing sides. Some species would stand with the council out of fear or loyalty. Others would fight for freedom alongside the humans. But one thing was certain: the age of council dominance was coming to an end. The only question now was, how much blood would be spilled before it was over? The war began without warning. Veltai crystal ships appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system and opened fire on the outer defense stations. But the aliens found that humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. Admiral Jake Morrison commanded the defense of Earth from his flagship, the USS Defiance. Around him, dozens of human warships moved into battle formation. Jake had fought pirates and rebels, but this was different. This was a fight for the survival of his entire species. "All ships, open fire," Jake ordered. Human kinetic weapons tore through the crystal ships like hammers through glass. The Veltai had never faced weapons that fired solid metal projectiles at a significant fraction of light speed. Their energy shields were designed to stop lasers and plasma bolts, not chunks of depleted uranium moving at incredible velocity. 3 Veltai ships exploded in the first volley. The rest tried to retreat, but human fighters swarmed around them like angry bees. Within an hour, the alien attack force was completely destroyed. Captain Lisa Hayes watched the battle from the bridge of the cruiser USS Freedom. She felt no satisfaction in the victory. This was just the beginning. The Council would send more ships, bigger fleets, until either Earth fell or the Council ran out of vessels to throw at them. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "we are receiving a transmission from the Scar-Rathi Republic. Scalebearer says his people have just declared independence from the Council." Lisa smiled. The plan was working. While the Council was focused on attacking Earth, their subject species were breaking free across the galaxy. On the mining world of Kepler-7, Captain Tony Phillips was helping the Rothkari fight off a Council punitive fleet. The small, furry aliens had proven to be excellent soldiers once they decided to fight for their freedom. "Human ship, this is Council Dreadnought Dominance," came a transmission. "Surrender immediately or we will destroy your vessel." Tony looked at the massive ship on his screen. It was 10 times bigger than his little exploration vessel. But size was not everything in space combat. "This is Captain Phillips of the human ship Horizon," Tony replied. "You want to fight? Come and get us." The dough. Dreadnought fired its main weapons. Beams of pure energy lanced through space toward the horizon. But Tony's ship was not where the beams hit. Human vessels were fast and maneuverable, designed to fight larger opponents through speed and cunning. Tony fired back with his ships, experimental weapons. Missiles that could think for themselves locked onto the dreadnought and slammed into its hull. Each missile carried a small fusion warhead, and dozens of explosions bloomed across the alien ship's armor. The dreadnought began to list to one side. Secondary explosions rippled along its length as internal systems failed. Within minutes, the massive vessel was drifting dead in space. "This is impossible," came a weak transmission from the dreadnought. "No single ship can defeat a council. Warship!" "You just learned something new today," Tony said, repeating the words Jake Morrison had spoken to the first council ambassador. The news of human victories spread across the galaxy. Species that had been afraid of the council for thousands of years began to see that the mighty galactic government could be beaten. Rebellions broke out on a dozen worlds. On Nexus Prime, High Chancellor Mordeth was in his private chamber, watching reports flood in from across the galaxy. Half of his fleets had been destroyed or severely damaged. 3 council-member species had declared independence. Trade routes were being cut by human raiders and rebel groups. "Sir," his aide said nervously, "the Depth Mari are requesting an emergency session. They want to discuss surrender terms." Mordeth turned his 6 red eyes toward the aide. "Surrender? The Council does not surrender. Sir, our casualty reports show that we have lost 60% of our military forces. The humans have weapons we did not know existed. Their allies are better prepared than we expected. Our own member species are turning against us." Mordeth looked at the tactical display showing the entire galaxy. Red areas marked Council territory. Blue areas were under human control or protection. Green areas had declared independence. The amount of red was shrinking by the hour. "How is this possible?" Mordeth asked. "We had complete intelligence on human capabilities." "Apparently we did not, sir. The humans have been hiding their true military strength for decades. They allowed us to see only what they wanted us to see." Dr. Kate Williams was on Luna Base, working with a team of alien scientists who had defected from the Council. They were analyzing captured Council technology and finding ways to improve human weapons. The Council's main advantage was always information, Kate explained to the mixed group of humans and aliens. They knew everything about their enemies before the fighting started. But they knew nothing about us because we never let them see our real capabilities. One of the alien scientists, a crystalline being called Clear Thought, asked a question. "How did humans develop such advanced weapons in secret?" Kate smiled. "We did not develop them in secret. We developed them in public, but we called them something else. Our asteroid mining charges are actually fusion bombs. Our cargo haulers are disguised warships. Our communications satellites are weapons platforms." She pulled up a display showing human space. "For 50 years, we have been building a military force disguised as a civilian economy. The Council saw what we wanted them to see, a peaceful species that was not a threat." Clearthought's body pulsed with different colors, indicating deep thought. "This level of deception requires incredible coordination across your entire species. How did you maintain secrecy?" "Because we knew you were watching," Kate said. "Every human colony, every space station, every ship was built with the assumption that Council spies were reporting back to Nexus Prime. So we made sure they saw exactly what we wanted them to see." 3 months after the war began, Admiral Morrison received a message he had been hoping for. Ambassador Helen Carter had escaped from Nexus Prime aboard a Scar Rathi ship. She was requesting permission to return to Earth. "Permission granted," Jake said immediately, "and tell her we have a lot to discuss." Helen arrived at Luna Base a week later. She looked tired but determined. With her came Scalebearer and several other alien ambassadors representing species. that had broken free from the Council. "The Council is collapsing," Helen reported to the assembled human and alien leaders. 5 member species have declared independence. 3 others are demanding new terms for their membership. The remaining 4 are fighting among themselves about what to do next. Senator Nancy Baker leaned forward. "What about Mordeth?" "Still in power, but barely," Scalebearer answered. "The Hive Collective wants to continue the war. The Veltai want revenge for their losses. But the Depth Mari and Protocol 7 are pushing for negotiations." Commander Rick Barnes spoke up. "What kind of negotiations?" Helen looked around the room. "They want to discuss the terms of their surrender." The room fell silent. No one had expected the Council to give up so quickly. "They are offering to dissolve the Council and establish a new galactic government," Helen continued. "One where all species have equal representation. No more tribute. No more forced membership. No more mind control." Dr. Alan Ross frowned. "And in exchange?" "They want guaranteed protection for their homeworlds and existing colonies. They are afraid that without the Council structure, other species will seek revenge for 3,000 years of oppression." Nancy stood up. "What do you think? Should we accept?" Jake Morrison looked at the faces around the table. Humans and aliens, who had fought and bled together for the right to be free. "I think we should put it to a vote. Not just humans, but all the species that fought for independence." Over the next month, representatives from 47 different species gathered on Luna Base. They came from across the galaxy, species that had been enslaved by the Council, species that had hidden from the Council, and species that had been Council members but wanted freedom. The debates were long and sometimes heated. Some species wanted to punish the Council for past crimes. Others wanted to rebuild the galactic order completely. A few suggested that each species should simply go its own way. In the end, they reached a compromise. The Galactic Council would be dissolved and replaced by the reformed Galactic Assembly. Every species would have one vote, regardless of size or military power. Trade would be voluntary. Military alliances would be optional. No species could be forced to join against their will. The ceremony marking the end of the Council took place on Nexus Prime. Commander Rick Barnes stood beside Scalebearer as they watched the last Council session. Mordeth formally dissolved, the organization that had ruled the galaxy for 3 millennia. "What will you do now?" Rick asked the reptilian being. Scalebearer looked out at the stars. "Learn to be free. Learn to make our own decisions. Learn to live without fear." "It will not be easy," Rick warned. "Nothing worthwhile ever is," Scalebearer replied. Captain Lisa Hayes became the first human ambassador to the reformed Galactic Assembly. Her job was to help write the new laws that would govern relationships between species. It was hard work, but she found it more satisfying than commanding a warship. Dr. Kate Williams established the Terran Institute for Galactic Studies on Luna Base. Students from dozens of species came to learn about